Alright, we get it guys. The truth is, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power isn't going to live up to the original trilogy. It can't ever do that. It's literally impossible. But Amazon showed something pretty interesting about the show in the Rings of Power trailer. The first Lord of the Rings movie came out in 2001. If you watched that movie when it first came out, that movie stayed with you for 21 years. That's 21 years of the movie sitting there in your brain, deep within your consciousness, alongside some other great movies that came out at that time, like Ocean's 11 and Training Day. At this point, you might have watched the Lord of the Rings movies multiple times. You've seen memes about them, discussed the movie with your friends, watched YouTube videos dissecting and analyzing what made them so memorable. That's 21 years of you re-experiencing that movie again and again in different forms. The Rings of Power hasn't even come out yet, and people are already saying that it's gonna fail. If the show fails, the internet will say it was unsurprising and that it was a cash grab from day one. And if it succeeds, people might say that it's good, but they won't say it's as good as the original trilogy. And that's the thing, I can't blame fans for wanting to compare the new with the old. The original trilogy will always hold a special place in my heart. It's a movie that I got to experience before I even became a teenager. But I can't say that I really got to appreciate how incredible it is until I rewatched them again in my early 20s. No matter what they do, it won't stop people from comparing the new show with the original trilogy. And this comparison is a consequence of remaking, rebooting, and taking an already established franchise to a new direction. I've noticed that people will generally be a lot more forgiving of a new franchise, a new IP, especially when it's trying something that hasn't been done before. People crave new franchises, new experiences. Yes, we still want to see our favorite characters. We still want to revisit our favorite worlds that have already been created. I mean, there's a reason why the Lord of the Rings video games are so popular and continue to be made. But people will always be more critical of shows and movies of established franchises than something that's completely new. To some people, no matter how good the Rings of Power turns out to be, it'll never be good enough. And that's fine. I don't think Amazon cares about those people. What this trailer showed is that Amazon wants the Game of Thrones fans. Ideally, they get those fans without pissing off the hardcore Lord of the Rings fans, but that's who they're targeting. Now that the first trailer is out, we got to see what Amazon's going for. The trailer is a teaser trailer. It's only a minute long, so it didn't really show much. I can't say I was blown away by it. It didn't really show anything to get excited about. I mean, it looks like a standard fantasy series with a lot of CGI instead of the practical effects that we saw in The Lord of the Rings. And the trailer music made it seem more like music that you'd put in an action movie trailer than something from Lord of the Rings. Now that's probably because this was a commercial shown during the Super Bowl, so you know, they're not targeting Lord of the Rings fans in this one, they're targeting the Super Bowl crowd. There were some shots of beautiful scenery, some character shots, they even got the bow and arrow guy, which I think is a sort of throwback to Legolas, because he was the bow and arrow guy in the original trilogy. It's like they're saying, hey, do you remember the bow and arrow guy from the original trilogy? Legolas, Orlando Bloom, the man with the long, gorgeous, luscious hair. Well, we got our own version of the bow and arrow guy. It's a different actor and it's a different ethnicity. I mean, you gotta be more diverse nowadays. But he's also good with the bow and arrow. He's great with the bow and arrow. If you love the bow and arrow guy from the original trilogy, you'll love him in this one. There were some cool shots of orcs fighting a massive monster, but none of this felt like I was watching Lord of the Rings. It actually felt more like Game of Thrones to me than Lord of the Rings. I mean, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I noticed the trailer started with this line. It said, haven't you ever wondered what else is out there? And I kind of saw this as them saying, have you ever wondered what happened in the past? As I said in my previous video where I talk a lot more in depth about the story, and make sure to check that out, the story takes place in the second age of Middle-earth, which is before the original trilogy. And apart from some bullet points, we don't know what happens during that timeline. So the trailer introduces us to this idea of we're gonna go explore a timeline of Middle-earth that I think hasn't been explored before. And that's where we're going with The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Jeff Bezos and his minions will be telling us a new story. Whether that story that's actually worth telling, I guess we'll see in September. Anyway, all I'm saying is let's not be so negative about this one. Let's just wait and see what happens. Let me know what you guys think of this trailer in the comment sections below. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.